blessings, they coming my way. Hundreds of blessings, they coming my way. Ay, hundreds of blessings, they coming my way. Hundreds of blessings, they coming my way. Ay, ay, ay. Like I got a new perspective. Oh my God. I don't mean to be so reckless, but I know my God's protecting. I talk to him before my set list. Got so many things on my mind, there's so much to forget about. Thank God he's the author of time, I don't stress, it's in him I dwell. The flesh doesn't want it sometimes, so I just gotta push it down. I've been saved with too many dang time, got surround me like Citadel. Feeling like $1 million, baby, you can't talk to me crazy. I'm a princess daughter of the king. I know when these folks tryna play me, devil almost had me.
Peace, family. How you all doing? I hope all is well with you. My name is Keisha. I'm the owner of Astrologics, and I am your astrology coach. Today, I'm going to be doing a little synopsis of Pluto moving back into Capricorn retrograde. It'll be there retrograde until October 11th. And then it goes direct in Capricorn until November 19th before it moves back into Aquarius for the next, 20, 19 years or so. Capricorn rules government institutions. This is also like your, I'm sorry, guys. Your public self, any kind of boss or authority figure, being responsible, maturity. This could also be elders, your parents, specifically your father, when we're talking about Capricorn, but you know, that's not relevant to everybody. So it can be whoever's the dominating parent in your life. Um, um, this is also structures and systems. And your career, your profession. And so the government institutions that we put our trust into, and we follow blindly, we may not trust them anymore. Pluto represents like the dirty business of these government institutions, the lies, um, you know, the things that the kind of the laws and regulations that they have set up to, pretty much trick us to make money off of us essentially, is what they're doing. But any of those systems and structures, and the dirt behind them will be coming to the surface. Pluto brings things up to the surface and to the light so that we can change, transform, and evolve out of that so that we can make them more preparation for Pluto in Aquarius, which is, people oriented, humanitarian, more human. Because right about now, I think we could all agree that that's not really how the system is. It's not fair, right? It's not really set up to support or help us in any kind of way. And so Pluto's bringing these things up in a way to really kind of show us so that we can make our own way and put these places out of business, essentially. So this can be things like corporations, taken from the middle class, which is all small business, middle class, I think at this point doesn't even really exist. It's really upper class or lower class, right? Um, and so there was the dismantling of the middle class for the 1918 years. Pluto was in Capricorn, so now we'll get a chance to rebuild that back up in some way. And I think we're going to see pretty much the last bit of that. I think we've seen it already with different banks and um, businesses closing and things of that nature. So there'll be, that last um, kind of deconstruction of those systems, structures, and government institutions. Um, so I think, with that being said, it'll be pretty intense. A lot of people can feel like they're stuck between a rock and a hard place due to some kind of loss. But also at the same time, the people who have been doing the work, I really feel like this is an opportunity, right? To see that area of life where something needed to change. We've had Pluto and Capricorn since 2008. So you've got to know what that is by now. And if you don't, God bless your soul. Right. And so in your Capricorn area of like, you've been working on trying to change and transform something. And Pluto and Capricorn retrograde is coming back up to say, okay, so how did you do? It's time to reflect on that area of life, on what you've accomplished thus far. And, whether you're, I wouldn't say necessarily it's something new. You'll definitely be wrapping something up for sure. But I also feel like it's that last stinger, Pluto, scorpionic energy stinging you somewhere in some area of your life that's saying, okay, but what did you learn? Right. And how can you implement that in other areas of your life? Or, is it, have you mastered that skill? Pluto, Capricorn wants you to master something, right? And so what did you learn and has it become a habit, essentially? Um, and um, yeah, and you get to see a different view of that in some way. That's the Phoenix rising energy, right? And so on a personal level, we can be more worried and moody during this time. The transformation can be slower, causing anxiety and discomfort. We can be more judgmental of others, less tolerant, and less adaptable. Um, but, try to be open minded to see what actions got you to this point. Pluto can be very karmic. And so I want you to take responsibility for your actions. And I got an example of that I'll get into in just a minute here. But, for the most part, it's not like pointing the finger. It's more like, just an opportunity to get better at something that can essentially take you up out of something so that you can rise above it and do better, be better, even teach it to others, right? Or your children, right? Because Capricorn, opposite Capricorn is Cancer. And so this can be some kind of come up, for your family or a legacy that you leave behind, or just lessons, lessons that your children should know um, to help them like betterment on their life journey, right? How can you support your family, your household, if you have property? Maybe even how can you expand that and start hiring people? We are in Virgo season. This is on the heels of the Virgo new moon. Are you in a place now where you can provide opportunities to other people? And so thinking about expanding that idea of wherever you've completed, mastered, or learned something, or again, just teaching it, having like a little class or a webinar and hosting like weekly sessions or something like that. It's going to be different for everybody, right? So this could just be a promotion at your job, and trying to change and functions of the operation of a job, right? That's what most people do whenever they get into office or a new position. It's like, how can I add my spice to this? Where do I see other areas in life that I have a skill on that I could provide to this company or organization that will make them function better, in Virgo season is about the details. And can we get them more organized to run like a smooth sailing system? And so this could even be things like that at your job going on, whether you're getting the promotion or making the changes or not. You could just be at your job and you can notice that there's a lot of operational changes, even systems or applications like maybe you was using Bullhorn and now you're using Moses. Like I don't know, I'm just making examples up, but for people out there who work, you know what I'm talking about. You probably heard of those before because they're pretty open. Maybe not Bullhorn. I feel like Bullhorn's pretty new, but Moses is definitely old. But there could be something like that going on where there's operational changes and things are changing the way the company or organization functions, right? For the betterment of the job moving more slowly or succinctly, um, in one piece, a well-rounded operation system. And there could be a lot of stuff like that going on, or this could be a lot of people leaving and newer people coming in that are bringing these new ideas or new ways to do things, or suggestions. Whether they happen or not, that's an entirely different conversation, but I think it's time. So well, we should hope so, but it's going to be different for everybody, right? This could be new co-workers, a new set of co-workers, people who have left. You might be leaving and moving into a new job. And so you're learning a new operating system anyways, new co-workers, new people, new environment, and all that other stuff. Something that again, Virgo season, that's more healthier for your well-being. So it could be something, especially if you've leveled up. Hopefully you're thinking smarter, not harder, and you've made some adjustments with your money and the way things operate to the point where maybe you only have to work part-time, you know, but you get more money because you've learned a skill so you can work less but get paid more. That's ideal, right? And so it could be stuff like that, simple stuff, small stuff. Um, it could be a lot of people calling out because they have health issues or have to take care of a parent with health issues, or even a child with health issues and things of that nature. It could be stuff like that going on that's changing or transforming the way you operate in your daily routine when it comes to your work and family area of life. Um, and so, you know, thinking and reflecting on these things would be helpful. It's a good time to reflect and take responsibility for that area of your life. Something you've been struggling with for a while is trying to get you to fix it once and for all. And so once you recognize whatever this is for you, it doesn't want you to kind of repeat a pattern and make the same mistake. And so it could be coming up in a pretty detrimental way where it's super intense and stressful. But again, ultimately, for the month that it's going to be there, you're only getting a little taste of it to the point where you're like, I remember this. I just went through this shit. I don't want to go through it right now. And so with Virgo season, it's good to kind of take inventory and make some changes. It might even be a career change in general. It's just the field that you work in can be too much for you. You need something a little less stressful, more laid back for your mental health and well-being. Um, but whatever it is, family issues, family drama, health issues, you could be changing your eating habits and diets and exercising more. It's going to be different for everybody, right? But again, this is just a really good time to take inventory of whatever these things are that's coming up for you so that you make it a habit. Again, Capricorn wants you to master something. and make it a functioning part of your daily life. Um, and so this could also be things like debt, clearing up debt, or just things that you're indebted to. Again, and Capricorn wants you to master that. And so a really good example of what are you in debt to? Your job. I mean, that's the obvious thing. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this is like government institutions and how they really aren't for us. And so a lot of us at this point, we have to know that there's some truth to that. How relevant is it is not really the point. The point is to look at it practically and see how you can grow above and beyond that for the betterment of your mental health and well-being. So you can have time for your family, children, and leisure time and things of that nature. So what kind of things can you do to not be indebted to working at a job for 50 years and feeling like you're really not getting any kind of reprieve for that? Um, and so another way to look at that is that jobs aren't guaranteed. So a lot of people can be losing their jobs. That might be something that a lot of people are facing and learning that lesson. And it's like, how can I avoid this from ever happening again? So you can get a job, and this is just a practical example. Not that this is going to relate to everybody, it's going to be helpful for everybody, but just food for thought. Some of the things that you can do so that you're not indebted to your job. And at the end of that, feeling like you're not really getting anything from it, or you still have to work, or you still don't have enough to live, or something to that effect, right? Add more to your 401k. And I have said a lot of these things before. It will be repetitive. And so I'm sorry, but sometimes being repetitive is helpful because that's also how you learn. So if you don't want to hear the advice, you can skip the video. I'm pretty much done here. I'm just giving an example right now. And so you can add more to your 401k. And so when you typically start a job, it starts you off at 3%, but you can add more to that. 3, you can move it up to 6, you can move it up to 9, whatever you feel like you can afford, right? That's one way to start a savings account, or what I like to call is an ROI, because once that money starts building over the next 2 to 3 years, you can use that to capitalize or invest in something bigger to give you more investments, right? That's just one example. Some other things that you can do is look for cheaper health insurance. You do not have to use your health insurance at your job. Okay, and there's other ways that you can get health services and still be in the guidelines of, um, whatever health guidelines the government has set up, right? And so considering that fact and getting on the phone and calling a bunch of different people to see what that is and how that works, especially knowing that, not everybody goes to the doctors like enough to, like, they take out so much from your check. And if you take your health insurance out just for 1 month, you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll get way more money back. And then you can structure your own doctor's appointments and things of that nature into your health routine. That way you're only paying at the time of that appointment, but you're saving so much more. And you can still do your yearly checkups. You can still do all the necessary things, but it's not coming out of your check in bulk the way that it does. And sometimes you may not ever even use that money, but you never see it. Okay. You damn sure don't get it back. Okay. So that's another thing to consider. Plus your job also has other things, and for your health, um, for like coupons and things of that nature. You'll know better than me, but again, there are so many other different ways to get health insurance. It's not even funny, and something to consider. All right. And so you get more on your paycheck when you get paid. And then you have your savings, And so I've talked about this before. I know a lot of people could care less about Acorns. It's an app. You can use it. It's a great saving app. What I like about it the most is that it gives you money on your money that you're saving, which you don't really get if you just have a savings account in a bank, which is another reason why government structures stale or don't really benefit you, just as an example, right? But there are other ways and other banks and things that you can do to save and get money on some of the percentage of the savings that you have, which is what you want. So this is called making money while you sleep, right? And so I like Acorns the best. I feel like they're the highest, but you can also do things like credit unions instead of, the typical big name brand banks. Okay, do use credit unions instead. They actually have more opportunities for you to get loans, and their savings account does come with an interest. It's not that high, but it's better than nothing. Um, and so you can try things like that. Also, they're more people oriented. I feel like credit unions, like they actually give a crap about people. It's actually their whole model and mission are set up to be more respectful. And they might even provide other opportunities for you that maybe banks don't do on a regular basis, or that banks do, but it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg, you know? And so just keeping those things in mind, try it out, see, if it's relevant for you. Um, and then you can start a budget. And so budgets are really good for multiple different reasons, but since we are in Virgo season, I highly advise you to just practice this thing and see where it leads you. You will be surprised how the universe blesses you when you do the things that are ruled by that particular sign or season or what have you, and how many blessings come in. Even if you're just thinking about it and considering it and maybe even doing some research or reading or something to that effect, you will be surprised how your mind opens up to the possibilities of things that can change for you and why they're so important, right? And so the reason why budgets are so helpful um, is because they really help you with your bottom line when it comes to how much money you bring in as income to your households. And it allows you to see where the trips and falls are, why you are robbing Peter to pay Paul. And you can then look and use that as a platform to grow and again, evolve into something higher, right? And so the first thing you can do is just write down all your expenses. I will put them in two columns, right? And you can put one column, put all your bills, and the second column is all your personal necessities, right? And what this allows you to do is see, first of all, what bills you have that you don't even need because you don't use. You can start getting rid of all of those, and or you can find other services where you can get those things cheaper. The mainstream um, places and spaces where you might be using your billing service, or or whatever you're being billed for, they might have another app for that that's way cheaper. And so you want to look into that. And when you have a column, this really allows you to step back and look at something and be like, oh, okay, start making some phone calls and see where you can make some changes and save some money, right? And um, Another reason why this is a really good thing, and you can do the same thing with your personal expenses too, by the way. Another thing that budgets are good for is it allows you to break down your payments and the way you make payments. And so let's say, for example, you have bills that equal out to $300 in total and expenses that equal out to $200 in total. When you have them separated and written down, what it allows you to do is say, for example, you get paid bi-weekly. And so every other check, you can take out the amount that totals on your columns for the first, you can even break them up where, so we said the first column for bills was 300. So you could take out 150 for the first check, 150 for the second. This also allows you to manipulate and play around with money to have more spending money to do stuff with, right? That's just another example of why budgeting is super helpful. And then you have for the personal list, once you look at it, you can see all the things that you're buying that you absolutely don't need, and you can start getting rid of those and being more frugal. Like maybe you don't have to get rid of them, but you start couponing, finding coupons, or shop at the local stores in your neighborhood instead of going again to the big businesses. Like you stop at your star markets and whatever's big in your, because I feel like it's different for everybody, but who knows, right? But again, I'm really just trying to give you an idea. But if you shop at your local stores, the things that you get there might be a lot cheaper. um and what this really gives you an opportunity to see from a different perspective is how we're blindly led into things that, we could be losing so much more money going to these bigger companies and organizations when they don't give anything back. They're not really supportive. They're probably killing us. And I'm trying to say these things lightly and nicely, but the truth is these things are really happening. You've got a lot of sensitive people who are like, that's not true. And that's okay too. But I hope in giving this example, you can really start to see, one, when you do this, how you take your power back, right? It kind of puts big businesses out of power, and you get to take your power back as an individual and rise like the phoenix. And once you get in this habit and rotation of more healthier ways of spending, you might even change what your eating habits are, how you eat, what you eat. And this could also be like going to farmers markets instead of grocery stores and things of that nature. You definitely could be saving way more there. Um, and now you're healthier, your well-being is at a peace of mind because you might leave yourself with an additional $300 that you saved just in 1 month just by looking through that small budget and making those small little changes, making your own food instead of going out to eat for lunch, and little, whatever it is you want to do and take out and change and transform is going to be helpful for you in the end, because it's giving you your power back, right, in so many different ways. And so, you know when you take your power back, it expands your mind. You are no longer looking to big businesses to save you and do things for you when they don't really give anything back. And these other ways definitely give you back just because they're healthier and they fit into your budget and they don't make you broke at the end of the week or every pay period, right? And you rise like the phoenix. And what it does is it begins over time when you master something and it becomes a habit. You rise like the phoenix and you can start thinking bigger and not so small, to the point where, who knows, now you have more time to go on vacations. And when you take time off from work, you can do more things. It doesn't have to be a staycation, although there's nothing wrong with staycations. But let's be honest, a lot of people really only do those things and make sacrifices to do those things because when they do it, they don't have the money to do anything, which is okay too, by the way. But when you keep yourself constricted, Pluto can be an intensity that's like, no, I want you to grow and expand, get out of that mindset, get out of that space. Even if you never changed, but you opened up your mind to it, is freeing, right? It takes mental stress away when you don't have those extra additional worries. And that's all Pluto and Capricorn is really trying to get you to do. It sets you free and eliminates the moodiness and even some of the smaller pettier things that we go through in life, like being jealous of other people who have these opportunities when you can do it yourself. So going back to taking responsibility for why your life is constricted or feels constricted, if you haven't even tried doing that, consistently, not just for a day. Do it consistently, make it a habit, master it, and it does open you up to other opportunities, and it expands your mind to even think about other opportunities. And it eliminates this kind of pessimism mindset that Capricorn have on the lower expression, or being poor, or accepting your situation because of whatever narrative is being sold in the bigger society because of all these damn corporations. They don't really leave you room to think like that until you take your power back, right? And so this is not about blame or anything like that, but just I hope that that example kind of expands you to be like, oh, that's different, you know? And so when you have your power, you move up to the next level to think bigger. And it kind of frees you too to be like, you know what, I can work at this job, or I can do this career, or I can go back to school or take a small course, or things that you might be kind of like not doing because in the back of your mind you really don't have the money. You really can't afford it. And you'd be surprised where Pluto holds on to those kind of secret conversations that you have to yourself, and over time it mulls over and turns into your reality, your expectations, your limits, your boundaries, how far you go, how big you think, and so alleviate that by trying some of these different things to help you grow and evolve. And who knows, the sky is the limit at that point. I mean, we're talking about the Phoenix rising here. Things become, the sky becomes limitless, and what you can do, grow to, etc. Right. And so, and just a little side note, this also prepares you. Now you have this skill, right, of budgeting and how helpful it is, and taking inventory of your life. And it prepares you for Pluto and Aquarius, which wants to free people from the confines of these boundaries, limitations, and the way we think about doing things and living our lives, right? And so I know I said that I wasn't going to be too long, but I just wanted to take that and expand on it a little bit with the Uranus and Taurus transit, because they kind of go hand in hand, just a little bit, not really. But Taurus is an earth sign, Capricorn is an earth sign, and so they are working simultaneously together, right? And then Uranus rules Aquarius, which Pluto will move back into, i.e., preparation for Pluto and Aquarius. And Pluto is going to be in Aquarius, and Pluto's currently in Capricorn. And so you're making a really smooth transition if you're doing the work to set you up to do the work for your Taurus area of life, right? And so Taurus will go retrograde on the 1st as well. And it'll be retrograde until January 30th. Uranus, again, is the co-ruler to Aquarius, as well as Saturn, which is currently in Pisces. And it lives in the 11th house, which is revolution, rebellion, decentralization, communities, collaborating, freedom, your higher self. And then you have Taurus, which is money, banks, the money you spend, art, budget, savings, right? And the money you make on your jobs, your side hustles, um, odd end jobs, ways you can make money. And I did talk about this and expand on this idea a little bit in the weekly astrology that will be up tomorrow. But again, I hate to be repetitive, but more than anything, I hope that this is helpful. I think this is important to incorporate in here because they are working simultaneously together. And if you don't have a job or if you lost your job, I feel like this opportunity, Uranus and Taurus, is great for odd end jobs or seasonal jobs or contracts, little things that you can do to make money to fill in for um, whether you have a full time or a part time job, or just to make additional cash. So let me just step back for like 3 seconds and go back to Pluto and Capricorn. Another thing your budget allows you to do is see how much money you're bringing in income wise, right? And so let's say, for example, after taking inventory of all your expenses, you see like, damn, I only make such and such a month. And you're like, but my expenses equal to more than what I'm bringing in. Well, now you have the opportunity to step back and be like, well, how can I make extra money? Can I do some extra things on the side? Um, or do I need to, again, get some kind of skill, negotiate more money, and um, you know, to bring in more income. It just allows you to freely think about different ways and opportunities that you can make more money. You can see how much more money you need to make, how much more time you need to spend. So you might not even need to work another whole full-time job unless they're going to pay you a certain amount of money that's like, oh, word. Okay, so if they pay me at the rate of, I don't fucking know, I'm making it up, $25 an hour, and you're like, boom, that's it right there. That's going to help me make enough money to support all my expenses. Maybe a job isn't doing that. They're not agreeing to do that, or you're just not in the position to um, negotiate for that amount yet because you need to learn a skill. Okay, cool. Go learn the skill, come back and negotiate a higher pay. Boom. At least you know what you have to do now, right? Um, and or again, going back to odd end jobs, which I think Uranus and Taurus is brilliant for, because Aquarius is not working for the government. Let's just keep it a whole buck. Aquarius is way too free. They don't want any of their information in the system. They don't even want to be a part of the system. They're like, yeah, I thought about it. And what had happened was no, right? And so they're very innovative in that way where they want the freedom to have time with their family or just do what the heck it is that they want to do or not be confined to depending on government structures and systems that they absolutely know are not serving them knowingly or unknowingly, however that shows up, it's a great thought, right? And so, what other ways can you negotiate a contract? What skill do you have where you can do to bring in odd end jobs and make small cash? Um, you can do temp to perm jobs. You can do temp jobs in general. You can do, I mean, the opportunities are endless, but at least you'll know. I think the key to the budget and kind of bringing in Uranus and Taurus retrograde along with the Pluto and Capricorn retrograde, what it allows you to do is really think about whether or not that shit's even important to you. It might not be. It might be so irrelevant that you're like, I can just be free. And that's okay too, but it gives you an idea of, you know, whether these things are important or not, where you need to put more time and effort into, how much more time and effort, and even make some changes overall and in general, right? It's going to be different for everybody. But again, I just hope that this information gives you something else to consider, right? And so, temp jobs, um, contracting jobs. I did, again, I talked about this in the weekly, so I'm trying not to repeat myself, but I can't remember what the fuck I said. So I'm just going to say they have these little apps, like Sitter City, especially for like single moms out there. Sorry, dads. I feel like guys are really good at getting odd end jobs, anyways, through their friends, other people that they know and things of that nature. They don't really struggle, but construction would definitely be one of them. Capricorn can be about construction structures, right? Construction, especially when Mars is here, Mars is not, but it can be about construction and building things, right? Being really good with your hands. And so, any kind of job that is correlated with that would be great. Anything that has to do with hard work and labor, right? Is really good for that as far as it goes for men. Um, but back to the apps for the ladies out there. I think Sitter City is great. I do know that they have another one. I just can't remember what the name of that app is at the moment, but you can sign up to the app and they have odd end jobs. So this might be home health care where you go to somebody's home, you might help them go shopping, straighten up their house, or small things like that. On the flip side of that, you can be a nanny where you're taking care of somebody's family while they're out working and doing the things that they need to do, but you will watch the kids and do all the necessary things for the kids. And here's the beautiful part about that is if you have children, you can bring your children with you, right? And so it's super convenient. And they also have nannying from the perspective of just driving kids to and from the small odd end places and spaces where parents just might not really have the time to do, or they're in work and so they can't do it. So you pick them up after school, bring them to their after school program, pick them up from the after school program, and then bring them back home. I mean, that's just one example, but there are multiple different ways that you can do that on the app and negotiate with the person that you're working with. Now, I know a lot of that stuff kind of went during COVID, for obvious reasons. But now that these things are kind of back up and running, which I don't think it's going to last long. We'll talk about that in the Pisces eclipse video. But it is Virgo season, health season, and I got to be honest, with Mars moving into Cancer, this can definitely be more lockdowns, different situation. It won't be COVID, right? But some other virus or sickness could be a possibility, and or limitation. That's really what this all boils down to. But just be mindful and keep that in the back of your mind. But essentially, these odd end jobs are just opportunities for you to think differently, be more innovative. But the goal is more mental health and well-being, more time for less stress, working smarter, not harder, and kind of doing all these small odd end things can be such a relief, in so many different ways, and you not be confined to a desk or an organization that, again, what do they really offer you at the end, especially if you don't know about how to grow and evolve within that. It's more so about, don't get a job with the expectation that it's going to be there forever. Do something with that so that you can grow and evolve and invest in something that pays you, that works for you, and allows you to have more free time. That's what this whole thing is going to be about, especially once Pluto moves into Capricorn. And so moves back into Aquarius, sorry. And so, making sure that you're considering all these things during the retrograde is going to be so fucking helpful. I promise you, the universe will bless you. Um, and so Uranus and Taurus can bring it wants you to be who you truly are, right? Without any limitation, boundaries, and in a very creative and innovative way. It can bring in people to teach you these things that you're trying to change, and people, places, and things. It doesn't have to be a person, okay? Um, and just to be, super honest, we're at the end of the year. This is the time when we're just a tad bit more on the darker side. So some of our shadow selves can come up a lot more than normal. But you meeting a person, place, or thing can literally piss you off when you see like somebody, say if you're somebody who like sucks at budgeting, but you need to do it. It could bring a person, place, a thing into your life that is so super solid with their budget, and all they do is talk about it. And every time you hear it, you're like, oh, with your fucking fancy ass budget. It can be a bit of a sting, and you might have a little bit of an attitude about it. But essentially the idea is for that person, place, or thing to come into your life to either take you under your wing and show you how to get better at it, whether this is teacher, mentor, etc., and or learn from this person, take notes, do your own research, and do the process yourself so that you can learn and get better at it. Everybody, it's going to be different for everybody how you choose to take this information. But again, I think the point is whatever this is for you, it's really trying to give you opportunities to grow and evolve from these structures and systems that really kind of keep you in a box and don't really allow you to grow and flourish to your deepest, truest potential. Right. And so um it gives you the opportunity to be the change you want to see through that evolution and growth. Really take time to work on the things that you love and want to do and would rather do on a daily, regular basis. And the Virgo energy and implementing this at this time, no matter how you're starting, if you're at the beginning, middle, or end, it does not matter. As long as you're doing something in relation to this, it's earth energy. So one, what it does is it manifests for you in real time here on earth in 3D, and it's foundational, it's strong, sturdy, you have the opportunity to make it strong and sturdy over the next 6 months, right? And get better at it and potentially make it something where you can give back to the world in some way, shape, or form. And so that's my little synopsis for Uranus and Taurus, but still, I think super helpful or informative to what it is. And now, again, this isn't going to be work for everybody. It's not going to be work related. For some of us, it's just mental and emotional stuff. Could be a lot of family drama, problems, and issues. Again, having to take care of a sick parent or your own health issues, or dealing with that in the workplace where somebody's leaving because of health issues, and you might have to take on more opportunities, workload than normal. It's going to be playing out differently for everybody. Just remember that. But that same model still it's relevant for that area of like take inventory. Really, really reflect on the things that are bothering you and then the things that are making you feel really good. And how can you make that a part of your everyday life? Master it to the point where you don't even see the things that aren't working for you anymore. That's the whole point of these retrogrades, and making them work for you instead of stressing out about them, even though, those things are going to be natural. There's no such thing as elimination because trauma, stress brings opportunities for growth. And so this is not about eliminating stress, trauma, or, the negative parts of life, but making it a smoother transition. seeing it from a different perspective, seeing it as an opportunity as opposed to stress and trauma. Do those things instead. And I promise you, you'll see the change. You'll even feel the flow. For the people who have already been doing the work, you're definitely moving into something way bigger at this time. Again, you're in a position to give back to people in some kind of way. And it could even come with the possibility of making an income in some kind of way. And income doesn't have to be about money. This could be emotional security and safety, just feeling good, being healthy, being able to eat the things that you like to eat without worrying about it. Whatever the payment is, it's going to be something that ultimately is like you walking away saying, damn, I did that. And it feels good. I knew that. Okay, I'm sorry. I had a moment, but you guys get the picture. Okay. As usual, family, I love and appreciate you. I hope you found this information helpful. Peace.